What's up, everyone? We are here, joined by the almighty Mr. Rocky Romero of New Japan. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great.
Host of the Talking Shop podcast.
That's right.
You know, the busiest man in the business, I would say right now.
I'm pretty busy. It's very overwhelming, but you caught me on a good day. I made some time for y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
of course. You wouldn't believe how much work this guy puts in.
No, I did some research on you.
I thought you were looking up a little porn there.
Well, right now, I'm on ghettogaggers.org. I don't see any of your clips on there, but
Not yet, at least. Yeah.
I'm on AEW.com, and you really are an amazing talent. And
Thank you.
I don't think a lot of the American fan base knew about you until you came over here, because New Japan seems to be like its own island with wrestling fans. Because in America, we don't. I don't know where you watch it. I saw it a few times on Axis with Josh Barnett.
Right.
But it's not really publicized in America that well. So.
Yeah, I mean, we just made our way back to Access, so we're working with Impact and their parent group, Anthem Sports, which owns Access TV now. And we've got a brand new episodes coming, I think March 3rd, I want to say. So it's like Thursday nights. It's Impact from 8 to 10. And then 10 p.m., New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And you're in both. How the hell do you have the time to do this?
Both and AEW as well. And also you're doing local shows.
The forbidden door is real, as they say. And it might be Rocky Romero, I guess, yeah.
Who knows? I mean, but it's exposing the forbidden door is great because, I didn't really know who Mr. White was. And it's not an inside joke on him. I don't have access to guys like that and you, so I was like, who the hell? I thought it was a fan rushing the who the hell is this guy? Because that was the same night Keith Lee had debuted, and you definitely don't miss him when he debuts.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, Jay White has been he's got a lot of TV time in the last couple of weeks, which has been really awesome, obviously with AEW and Impact. And, him changing the game with the Bullet Club yet again, the Good Brothers joining in. And he's been all over the place. But, like you said, it's been a little hard to get New Japan Pro Wrestling in the mainstream here in America. But I think, being back on Access TV will be important. You can always check out NJPWworld.com. That's our streaming service. It's got all, the stuff from Japan and all the stuff that we're doing here in the U.S. And we've got a big pay-per-view coming up on April 16th from Chicago. That should be really, really sick.
Ooh, which one? What's the name of that?
Windy City Riot.
Ooh, yeah. Is that just New Japan? Because I know you guys have that New Japan Strong as well.
Yes. So, that's like a New Japan. So, we're basically doing, New Japan Strong is like a weekly television show. Kind of like we're filming it old school, a studio style, I guess, type of thing. We're filming it all around the country, but our home base is right here in L.A.,
Dojo.
Yeah, at the Vermont Theater. We're there every other month filming there. But that's like a episodic kind of take on New Japan. So it's New Japan style wrestling, but it's just kind of put into an hour long show, which is kind of cool. So you'll get a little bit shorter matches. You get some angles and some storylines, but it's not overly done. So not, you might only get one storyline per episode, so it's not too much to digest, which is kind of cool. So you can pop in and out as you please, and you can easily pick up where the storylines are coming from. And then for this show, it's every 3 months or so we're having these kind of bigger pay-per-views. So we had one in LA last August, we had one in San Jose in November, and the next one will be this Windy City Riot in Chicago on April 16th.
Hell yeah.
And who are you going up against? Or can you say yet?
I don't know. I'll probably be in some kind of tag team match or something because I'm not that important, We got some of the big shots coming in. We got Will Ospreay who's going to be there. John Moxley, of course, is going to be around. Maybe some other folks from AEW are going to come in as well. Tomohiro Ishii, who's a big fan favorite here in the States. Minoru Suzuki, another big name from Japan.
Yeah, he's coming back for a little tour, yeah?
Yeah, he'll be here for about 30 days or so.
Nice.
So he's making his rounds. I'm sure he'll end up on AEW television as well somewhere as he did last time. I mean, he kind of came in for like a month or whatever, a month or two or whatever it was, and he was
started
literally
controversy.
everywhere. Yeah,
I love him.
yeah.
Twitter
the Suzuki
trending 'cause
incident,
Yeah, the Suzuki incident because they cut off his music, which is he has an entrance where he walks in slowly, and then there's a moment. The part of the song goes off. Kaze ni nare. Everybody sings it. He takes his towel off. But they cut it before he even got to that part.
It's like a 2-minute entrance, right? And at this one beat, he takes off his thing, right? And the crowd screams "Kaze ni nare," which means like "I go with the wind" in Japanese, and they cut it off due to time because they were running too late in the show, so they just cut it like 30 seconds in. Yeah. And people were pissed.
Yeah, the internet went crazy. Oh, how dare you, the disrespect.
Yeah.
Well, you need time for Jericho's song. I mean, listen, I love the song.
Yeah.
I just downloaded it, so he made $2 off me.
Great.
But
he didn't need that $2.
He had to pay for Kamala's funeral. It was $5,000 in the shout out to the WWE for taking care of that.
Right.
Jesus. But do you find, like, as a novice New Japan fan, I don't know if I'm wrong by saying this, but it almost looked real from this. It seemed more technical, whereas American wrestling, like when Keith Lee threw Cassidy 100 feet in the air, it was cartoonish, but it was amazing. Is it hard to go back and forth to the different styles?
No, because I think in the end, pro wrestling is pro wrestling, So, like definitely like New Japan and the way it's presented feels more like it's a sport,
Right.
It really does. So, but like this is funny. I was just doing a seminar recently, and I was talking about like you kind of got to know your audience, Like I'm sure it's like same thing in comedy, depending on what city you're in, you got to kind of know what they like and what you think might actually work, depending on where you're at, like company, whether it be AEW, Impact, or New Japan, or Mexico, or whatever. You kind of got to know your audience, so you kind of like tweak everything just slightly to make it work, But you want to stay true to what you do because that's what they're bringing you in for,
Yeah, and AEW gives you a lot of freedom with that strong style. It's not like
For sure.
WWE will make you a little more like, hey, take it easy.
Well, yeah, AEW is very grounded in professional wrestling. Like they want to present it more like a sport. They have rankings. They have wins and losses matter. Where like WWE doesn't matter at all. Like but and especially Tony Khan was such a fan of New Japan. Like the first time we came to Long Beach. Back in like whatever it was, like 2000.
At the Pyramid?
Yeah, at the Pyramid in 2017 or something like that.
Yeah,
this is pre-AEW. He was sitting in the first row. It was he was there during the Bucks versus Roppongi Vice, our last match, until the AEW one. And it had such an effect on him that, he was such a big New Japan fan that's kind of like what he, like, I think kind of, it was inspiring for AEW. He didn't really want to do comedy stuff. He wanted to do like serious, wrestling for the most part.
Well, he should be sitting in the front row. The guy's a billionaire.
Yeah, let me ask you personally, how did it feel for you to relive that match of the Bucks versus Roppongi on the TNT? Was it TNT or TBS?
TBS.
Either
No,
way.
TNT. Sorry,
TNT.
TNT. Rampage on the TNT. Yeah.
So, I mean, either way, it's a national television. You got a big arena crowd. Like, how did you feel any different just approaching that in a bigger stage like that?
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it ended up the way it did because the way we were supposed to do it, we were going to have it, it was going to be live on Rampage in D.C., but then I got COVID the day before. So I was out for real good times. So, but I kind of was like really nervous and not really mentally ready for it. So I was like, I got an extra like 2 or 3 weeks to like take off before we actually did the match. So like, thank God I did because I kind of felt a little like, I don't know, I was feeling very stressed by it because of like it was going to be live TV and it's like the biggest stage, huge stage like TNT. But no, it was cool. I mean, I got so much love and support like from the family and friends that really supported and were just like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, same thing. We used to see you in the Bucks in ROH, or we used to see you in the Bucks, in New Japan, USA somewhere, but now here you guys are on this huge platform. So, shout out to AEW for having me. I love it. Yeah.
I love AEW.
Yeah, AEW is great.
I'm the biggest supporter of it.
Yeah.
I hope they stick it to the WWE.
But that's the thing is real wrestling fans, I think, from like, You know, I definitely from my age group and you know your age group as well. You know, they I think they really enjoy what AEW is doing because they are catering to the fans instead of like going against the grain. They're like giving the fans what they want. You know, so yeah, I feel like WWE can just like, I don't know, what sometimes the decisions that they make are kind of wild, you know? I don't know.
We could go over those in about 3 hours.
Yeah. It's a weird thing because you hear the fans go crazy about, you know, the way that WWE books stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's hard to argue when they keep making money. It's sad. Like,
Well, yeah, there's just such an institution, though, you know? It's hard for them. It'd be hard for them not to make money at this point. I think, you know, everybody knows the brand. The brand is worldwide. It's a strong brand, and really they've been working so hard just to make the brand strong as opposed to, like, all the wrestlers, you know, for so long. And I feel like it's finally showing, like, all the work that they've put in for that, you know?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter who's on top. It doesn't matter, like, they can all be replaced, I feel like, at this moment, in a way, you know?
except for Roman and Brock, I guess those are the two.
I feel like they could be
anchors.
I mean, they could be replaced too. I mean, the brand is so strong. It's like
eventually they will.
You know?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they will. I'd like to see them wrestle another 70 times.
Well, it all comes down to, you can even see by the belts. Like, you look at the championship belt at WWE, it's their logo.
Yeah.
You look at the New Japan belt, and it doesn't even say New Japan, really. It says IWGP.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it shows you where their concern is, each of them. You know, WWE is more marketing, and then, you know, that's more of a legacy belt, you know? What are your thoughts on this whole thing? And, you know, kayfabe, if you want, on Cody's departure. It was such a hot topic right
You
now.
know, it was a shock, you know, for me personally. I love working with Cody. Cody has been literally like nothing but a pleasure to work with, you know, and this is like after WWE, you know, we had a conversation and he was like, you know, like, what do you think about, you know, would New Japan be interested? And I didn't know Cody at all before this. And we talked and I said, yeah, I think New Japan, you know, is definitely interested. And the idea came down the line, well, what about Cody for Bullet Club? And Cody was opposed. He was like, I don't think I fit in with those guys. You know, he didn't know the Bucks at this time. He didn't know Kenny, you know, whoever else was in the Hangman, Marty and those guys. So, like, he was completely opposed to it. And he's like, I don't think. And I remember talking to him and he'd kind of be like, oh, okay, yeah. And then I remember him shooting me a text later and being like, I don't think it's going to work, dude. And I was like, no, think about it. We're just got to repackage you a little bit. And I remember talking to my boss about it, and he was kind of like, well, you know, he needs to come up with like a moniker. And I've been thinking about it. And, you know, what about the American Nightmare? It's the opposite of the American Dream. And like, what if we go with that route? And then I started to think about it, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. It's like, maybe we can do like American Psycho, you know, like he would fit it kind of perfectly. He was always wearing the suits and stuff like that. You know, he's kind of known for that. And so then we got with a guy who does our videos, a guy named Jason Goldwolf. He's out here in LA. And I told him about the American Psycho thing. So like we shot this thing in my buddy's garage where we brought Cody in and we put up, you know, like all these like plastic, like around, made like this plastic room. We got Cody smoking the cigar, and it's like, and he's got the, you know, the mask that he used to wear when he broke his nose or whatever, and he was doing that thing. Yeah, so like, you know, it's like this like kind of American Psycho-y type of promo, and then that was the debut promo for Cody when he was coming, and you know, he puts the cigar out on the Tokyo Dome logo, and then that was his debut against Juice Robinson, so that would kind of open the door for that, yeah. And then the rest is history. It became Bullet Club. They did All In, and created AEW, and then
now he's gone.
Now he's gone, which is wild. It's wild. You know, I mean, he'll bounce. Whatever he goes, he's gonna be a commodity because he's well spoken. I think his wrestling is great. I think he's a very smart individual, and he's got like this really cool legacy. Obviously, we know his father and his brother, and you know. I think he'll be back eventually. Maybe he goes for 2 or 3 years, whatever it is, and who's to say like he probably goes back to AEW at some point, and it's going to be even bigger.
Do you think that Forbidden Door will ever just completely break down with WWE, like where that's kind of like a thing, and you can have like Kenny go over for a Mania, or Reigns go over for a Dynamite, whatever. Like, do you think that'll ever happen?
When they sell, maybe.
When they sell,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Maybe when they sell and they have non-wrestling people who don't have a grudge for it, and it's just kind of about like making money completely because they spent $7 billion on the company,
When they just buy AEW out.
Or they buy. I can see Tony selling.
I mean, Tony's got more money than Vince, doesn't he?
Well, so did Ted Turner.
Shit, that's right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but I don't think Tony's a young, big fan. I wouldn't want to call him a mark, but
he is.
Yeah,
and I mean that.
We're all. Isn't that why we're here?
I'm breaking down Sting's WWE run. I tell you what's going to happen.
Is that the first segment? Breaking down Sting's WWE run?
Well, that's what got me on Piper's podcast. I was doing a set here, and I was so angry. I was just talking about how Sting got jobbed out, and Piper's like, "Why don't you come on my podcast?" Because I don't think he wanted to be a bad guy anymore. He's like, "I'll just get this maniac." He clearly doesn't want to work for the WWE. And Piper was the face.
That's so awesome. I got to work, I met Piper not maybe a couple months before he passed, but I got to work with his son.
Cool.
Yeah. So we did a thing not too far from here, for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. They were shooting this pilot, and they built up the pilot between me and him, and where we had this little feud, and then we had this match, and we had a really, really awesome match. And he doesn't have much experience, so we're able to get him through it, and it was awesome, and it was such a cool moment for me because when I got to the back, Piper, who I don't know at all, runs up to me and just gives me this crazy embrace and is just hugging me. And I'm like, what is going on in my life right now? Roddy Piper is telling me how great I am and what a great wrestler I am. And, thank you for getting my son through that. And just what an awesome moment it was for him to see his son have a kick-ass match, and the crowd was going crazy. And then for me just to be, glad to do it, of course, but even more awesome, getting this awesome praise from Roddy Piper. It was definitely one of the coolest moments in my career.
Do you take the lead in the ring, and guide him through, because you clearly have a ton more experience?
100%, yeah. Guiding him through, and of course, you get caught up into, and the crowd's going, and then it's what's next? What's going on? I'm like, it's all good. We're gonna get through this. Do this, do this, do this. And he's like, all right, cool. And then like that, and I'm just putting myself in the positions of, to make it real easy. And we had a kick-ass match, dude. It was fucking awesome. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, what a great moment. Yeah.
Do you aspire at all to I know that before AEW times, the dream was get Mania, right? That was the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that's still the case? Is that a case for you to eventually do a Mania, or is that just not even important anymore?
That on paper, yes, it would be cool. Maybe more for my family and friends to maybe I feel like they would be oh, that's such a cool thing that you've made it, type of thing. Right. I guess that in that kind of sense, But to be honest, I don't give a fuck. I could care less. I mean, they'll
put you up against Bad Bunny or something.
I mean, that would be dope, dude. I would love to wrestle Bad Bunny.
Oh yeah,
maybe a ladder match with Hornswoggle.
I mean, I could
Wait,
do that.
Have you had a ladder
I
match
could do that in Luke Gallows' backyard. I mean,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wait. Speaking of that, when's Talking Shop Mania 3 happening?
Fuck it. As soon as we can get Carl Anderson to say yes, But me and Gallows, we've written so much of this Talking Shop Mania. I got this whole idea to do this. If we don't do a Talking Shop Mania, it'll be Talking Shop Mania 2.5, and it's this at least hour-long cinematic journey where, it's semi-Spaceball, semi-fucking, Talking Shop, and, bunch of cameos, especially all the people who've been released in the last year and a half. Yeah. We have so many great cameos and so much shit that we could make fun of. So, I mean, I'm ready to do it. We got the budget. We did really well on the first two, so.
You got to watch those, man. You have a match with... Chavo in a gym.
Oh, I love Chavo.
Yeah.
But in a gym while they're doing weights and shit.
Yeah, it's and the banter of Talking Shop is so ridiculous. Yeah. So this is Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and I. We have a podcast called Talking Shop. So when they got fired, their final match in WWE was the Boneyard match, AJ versus Undertaker, right? This goes back to what you were talking about. But they did this match and they were getting all this praise, and then they got released, right? The pandemic, supposedly whatever. So Gallows had this idea. He's like, I want to do this crazy pay-per-view. This is like middle of pandemic. They'd just done Mania with no fans. And he was like, we just do it on my property. He lives in the middle of Georgia. We'll film it, and let's just spoof everything. But the main event is going to be a boner yard match. So
I'd like to be involved.
So they have two characters. Carl and Gallows have two characters where it's Chad Too Bad and Sex Ferguson. Those are like their alter egos. So we built this pay-per-view and we did like 5 matches where that's billed as the worst pay-per-view ever.
I love it.
And it's literally the worst fucking pay-per-view ever. It's like we try to find the shittiest wrestlers to wrestle each other, and then really overdone stupid gimmicks. Like we had instead of a briefcase on a pole, it was like a briefcase on a tree, like just really dumb shit. And it did really well. It was a ton of fun to do. The second one we did Talking Shop in Mania 2, and me and Chavo, we had a death match, but the winner had to actually kill the other person. So he actually died by lightsaber due to Taylor Williamson. Taylor Williamson hit him with a lightsaber, and he died. So I'll send you the links after so you can check it out. I think you really like it.
In the next one.
We'll talk at Shop Mania 3 if maybe we should book you.
I mean, I'm a great heel. I can't wrestle, but that doesn't stop a lot of guys.
We'll give you some Kabbalah face paint, dude.
Dude, yes. No, wait,
I don't know if I want to be in blackface. What am I, Piper against Bad News Brown?
I want to give a shout out to the boys, to the Good Brothers, and a nice FU. I watched their vlog today, and they put a little graphic up with your face. It's like, we haven't heard from Rocky in like
I don't
week.
Get involved in that fucking vlog.
They put a graphic like, we haven't heard from Rocky in like 7 days. I'm like, well, that's because he's here.
Sorry,
Too
guys.
busy here.
This is a Comedy Store Wrestling podcast. This isn't Conrad and some other.
Yeah, some other shit. Yeah. It's high level shit here.
So you're kind of like currently involved in like a main event picture with AEW. You got the Bucks and Roppongi. You're involved with the Super Friends. What is it called?
Right, Super Friends,
Super Chaos Friends.
Yep, Super Chaos Friends against the Elite / Bullet Club / Super Click.
Super Click.
Kind of a 3-for-1 special. Jesus, why don't you get the NWO in there too?
Oh, I like it. Yeah. No, it's pretty cool.
Is that something that is going to keep going? I mean, do you see yourself becoming All Elite at some point, and maybe working more for them and not Japan?
No, I've got a long-term contract with New Japan.
Oh, okay.
I signed I think like a 5-year deal a while ago. So yeah, I still have like 3 years left at least on that. So
okay.
So yeah, I'll definitely be with New Japan and definitely being a flag bearer for the company, especially in the West and in the States. I love the company. I love what it represents. I love the style of wrestling. I mean, that's my shit. So like, I want to be a part of that. But I also want to help New Japan grow to a Western audience, be more accessible, for the audience here. So, and I think through AEW and through Impact as well, the partnerships have been really good to get more eyes on our product. So you definitely be seeing me more in AEW down the line. You'll probably see a lot more New Japan guys coming down the line too.
Oh, okay. All right.
And will some AEW guys go to New Japan, like for a one-off super card and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we definitely are going to have plans to bring AEW talent to what we're doing in the States, like New Japan Strong shows and the iPay-per-views that we're doing here. And as soon as the borders open in Japan, I could definitely see like more AEW talent being integrated over there as well.
All right. Well, as a closing question, since last time we had Josh here, you got something, John?
Yeah, I have a question. I constantly you hear about some old timers, part timers coming in So I'm sort of with Earl, where I don't have easy access to New Japan, but I know you and you can wrestle. So when you say, "Oh, I'm not important," they have Moxley coming in. Without bullshitting us, do you guys really get annoyed when they bring in the part-timers that take spots that you guys could actually be crushing in?
No.
Really?
No, because I think in the bigger picture, you know, Moxley being on the card brings so many more eyes to it that I think everybody's kind of in, like, everybody's on the same wavelength as, like, if we're going to get this thing bigger, we're going to get more eyes on people, it's going to be more accessible. It's like we need people like Moxley to open that door. And Moxley's a fucking dope dude. He's, like, literally one of the best people, and he's super talented. And I think he might be, like, my favorite wrestler, like, right now. He's all the shit that I like, you know?
Right.
Like he legit is. He's just, like, a dude who's, like, a husband and a dad, and he just goes out there, and he didn't really, like, you know, shave his chest or nothing that day. And he's just, like, literally walked in. He's like, what am I doing? Yeah, okay, cool. And he's, like, you know, got the gravelly voice, and he just goes out there and he kicks ass for like 10 minutes, and then he fucking goes home. I love that.
Yeah, man. I've been a fan.
No, he's great. He really is the best of both. You know, the promos. Like,
Yeah.
if anyone makes wrestling seem real, like, you're like, okay, this guy he's not messing around.
No.
Yeah, if you get bored one day, look up his old CZW matches where he just takes a chainsaw to the face and a couple other ridiculous things in his hardcore matches.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan of his since when he was Dean. You know what I mean?
Right,
So now seeing him kind of blossom into, like, his own thing and bring back the Mox name, I'm like, yeah, man, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get him in here, by the way. That needs to happen.
Yeah, maybe, like, young guys might feel that way, but, like, you know, like, younger guys, like, you know, who are just coming up, like, in the first and second matches, they might feel like, oh man, like, that could have been a spot maybe for us. I could see that, you know, and they should feel that way. I feel like when you're young and you're going after it, everybody should kind of be a little bit of an enemy, you know, in a way, you know, just to kind of, like, light that fire under your ass to, like, get to the top, you know.
Well,
I also think that's the difference between what you guys do and WWE. Not that WWE doesn't have wrestlers, but you guys are bringing in wrestlers. So for you guys to have outsiders come in, it's John Moxley. What's happening now is you're getting one of the the TikTok kid, the YouTube kid that's now
Jake Paul and Logan Paul or whatever it is.
fighting with the Miz, and it's like
Right,
they
right.
fired John Morrison, who they underutilized for a year.
by the way,
Replacing him with a TikToker. I'm like,
I did beat John Morrison in a roast battle, but that's irrelevant.
That's not irrelevant. That's awesome.
As you should.
He's like, well, you know, it's funny because, you know, roast battle upstairs in its heyday was like an ECW, like, battle dome, and I'm like, hey, John, you know, it's a wild atmosphere up there. He's like, dude, I've wrestled in front of 70,000 people. I got it. As soon as he got up there, he was shitting on his face. But I think John was talking about situations like when David Arquette won the WCW title. Like, they don't really bring in, like, celebrities like that, but you know, some people's problem with Lesnar is that he's kind of a part-timer. You know, he'll go in, he'll come out, like that.
But everybody wants to work with Lesnar. That's the thing.
Lesnar than Goldberg. Goldberg, I think people have a big.
But everybody wants to work with Goldberg too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're all saying that because they're not working with those guys. If they were working with those guys, they'd have a different tune. They'd be like, oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's good that he's here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make $50,000 off this pay-per-view. I'm cool with
Jewish. Of course, I like Goldberg.
I mean. They're going to have to fill 8 hours of WrestleMania this year, so I would be furious.
I think they should do more.
How about a whole week of WrestleMania?
Let's do 12.
I think they should have Shane go over AJ Styles again.
Hey, remember that one time where Shane got let go? Like a day after that?
I have a fantasy booking for that.
Is he showing up in AEW?
I'd like to throw some booking ideas. I know we have to go, but, like, I'm telling you, if Shane walked out there with Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman, I know he just got his own promotion. Trust me, that thing will go under quicker than a porn star. He's got 3 people in the promotion. What is he supposed to wrestle? Bray Wyatt 8 weeks in a row?
Bray Wyatt's not even a part of that.
But if they... Oh, he will be.
He will be. He will be eventually.
But wouldn't that be... don't you think the internet would break if those 3 walked out, say, I know AEW has a pay-per-view, I believe this Sunday... something's going on.
Revolution?
Sunday.
No. Is it?
Revolution, yeah, March
6th.
Yeah.
So maybe it's 2 weeks. But like, tell me, as a wrestler and as a fan, would you not mark out if those 3 walked out? Challenged?
People would be going nuts. And it'd be, definitely ratings would go up.
Yeah, I was looking at wrestling Twitter, and people were like, just stupid. No one would pop for Shane. I'm like, you're crazy if you say that.
Dude, people love Shane.
Yeah.
Well, does it bother you, like I previously mentioned when he went over AJ Styles? Like, there's a non-wrestler, but I will say this, he does take the crazy bumps, so I'll give him credit for that. But, like, how do the boys in the back feel when they see him kind of being put on AJ Styles' level as a performer?
I think that there's a certain respect for Shane, because he has done all the stuff and like he's been in those high, situations, those big moments. But I feel like, I think for the most part, probably most of my friends and most of the boys would probably be like, dude, I can't believe that they would do that to AJ.
I mean, supposedly he got let go because he got backstage heat because he wanted to go. Yeah. What was it? He wanted to outstrike Matt Riddle in the Rumble.
Sounds plausible.
Ex-UFC fighter.
Yeah, no big deal.
Very believable.
Yeah, he's got those potatoes that he throws. I'm sure that he could take down Riddle.
What was he part of? Mean Street?
Posse. I thought we were going into a Freebirds territory. Backstreet. But I mean, like, we all are wrestling fans, and we know it's scripted or whatever you want to call it. But, like...
How dare you?
Like, when I watched the movie Predator... I know I'm not watching a documentary about an alien killing 8 guys, but I like the storyline to match up. It's just not believable that he can out-wrestle one of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time.
Right. Especially, like, as you're a kid, maybe it means nothing, right? But once you become an adult and you become mature. A teenager, you got some sense of, like, how the fuck does that work? Like, how the hell should he be able to outstrike fucking...
I was 47 at the time. Like, I watched your match with Bryan Danielson in AEW, and, like, it was amazing. Like, I thought it was, like... It was almost a hybrid of MMA moves and wrestling and theater, and that was very enjoyable to watch because it was believable.
Thank you.
These guys seem like they don't like each other. And we had a beer afterwards.
Yeah,
we don't have to break kayfabe.
Exactly.
But it was like so fun to watch, and I know AJ and Shane was 6-7 years ago. I hold on to grudges.
Oh man,
I love it.
Well, the final question I had, since last episode we had Josh and we talked about Bob Sapp's dick. And
I talked about Bob Sapp's
dick.
Have you seen it?
No, but I would love to.
You should. I mean, like, I don't want to get us canceled, but like, I'm a Bob Sapp guy.
Yeah, me too.
He's like a hybrid MMA wrestler, and I hear he tells promoters now, "You got me for 3 minutes. After that, I check out." So, like, dude,
I would love. We've had Bob, fortunately, on Talking Shop on our podcast, many years ago. But I was there when he debuted in New Japan, like 20 years ago or whatever it was. So I love Bob Sapp, and I want to see him. I would love to get him on a New Japan USA show.
That'd be cool.
I think it would be so sick.
That would be cool.
I would love to be his manager. Just walk out.
There it is.
A little Gary Hart promo. My brothers and sisters. Just don't have him on the mic. Don't have Bob Sapp. Just a little.
Well, I think my question was, since we have spoken of hoots in the past, being in the locker room with all the hoots, like the rumors amongst your crew is Finn Balor has the biggest hoot, but who would you say has the biggest hoot in all the land?
I mean, his is only big because it's uncircumcised, so,
because he shows it to you in his entrance.
Uncircumcised.
Like, seriously,
that you're Jewish.
Yeah, but I'm half Catholic, so I slid in.
Nice.
I don't like anything 10% off.
Ew.
Oh.
Seriously, what's that intro for Finn? He shows it's showing you.
Check
it out. Look at it.
Good for him. I also hear Seth Rollins is well endowed.
Oh, there's pictures of that on the internet.
I don't need to see him. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from your experience,
Who are we looking for names? What are we looking for?
I mean, yeah, who's the biggest
what do
hoot
you
in all the
think?
land?
God, Scorpio. There's, of course, Scorpio.
Scorpio Sky. All
Yeah.
right.
No. Well, maybe
No?
that's Scorpio Sky too. I was gonna say Flash Funk. Scorpio is a
Oh,
legendary
shit, okay,
one.
okay.
Shelton Benjamin is a legendary one. We often talk about that on the
Why are you guys
podcast.
looking at me? It's his question.
Yeah, well, it's your topic.
Your face lit up though. That's
I'm hard as a rock right now, but like that's completely irrelevant. When I mentioned Czech Congo to Barnett, he was like almost flew through that window.
TJP. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shocker because
Yeah.
he's a kind of a smaller guy.
Yeah.
All right.
I remember hearing a story that it was New Japan locker room. This is like 2003, 4 or something like that. 5 maybe. It was Scorpio, maybe Shelton Benjamin, and then TJP.
Shit.
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, there you go.
Well, I know what I'm Googling when I go home.
Well, hey, man, Rock, thanks so much for coming out to the store. It's I've known you now for a couple of years, and it's a pleasure just to sit down and chat with you, man, because you're so busy. Like we said earlier, you're so busy, it's hard to get you down, but you're here, and thank you. Where can people find you? Where do people get the Talking Shop podcast, all that?
Yeah, Talk Shop Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple and Spotify and all that stuff. You can find me at Azuka Rock, AZUCARROC on Twitter and Instagram. Check out New Japan World, NJPWWorld.com for New Japan Strong and all of your New Japan needs. And FightTV.com or Fight.tv, I should say, is where you can find the Talking Shop of Manias that we talked about, and also the New Japan pay-per-views.
And you also have a Patreon for the Talking Shop where you guys do a cool thing. You guys
do.
actually bring in the fans that are part of the Patreon for,
Right.
for
Yeah.
chat and stuff.
Yeah, you can be on there if you'd like. Yeah.
What do you think? When do we tape?
Patreon.com/Talking Shop. Check it out. It's a really fun experience. We do watch-alongs and stuff like that. Get everybody together on Zoom. Get super drunk. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, we're not doing it on Zoom.
Where are we doing it?
Go to your house. You can kick my ass.
That's
I'm not gonna do it,
yeah.
man.
We got to make that like a $2,000 level at least. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. $2,000
Trust me, I'll bring in some dollars.
It just has Jericho.
'Cause I'll go, Jericho's a fan of mine.
Yeah.
I gave him some thoughts. Can I ask one more question? I know we got to.
Yeah.
We spoke about Cody leaving. Rumors of where Bray will end up. How does that affect the locker room? Like when a guy's either coming in, or when like Cody leaves, does it depress the locker room, or does it kind of give it some excitement?
Yeah, I think probably mixed. A lot of people might be like, "Oh shit, this is really bad." Like this is not a good move, and then a lot of people are like, "Oh great, like now a spot's opening up." In the higher part of the card. So I think it probably affects everybody differently. It's probably whether you have a relationship with that person or not. Probably really is what affects it. But there could also be a lot of excitement of like, well, since that person's out, what's going to happen next?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I should have asked that question 25 minutes ago. But you guys have me thinking about I don't know, some guy's dick. Like what is? I thought I was the wild card on this podcast.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
Not just
Eddie's a
anybody's
pervert.
dick. Not just anybody's
He's supposed
dick.
to be like the straight guy, and I'm supposed to be like the Bobby Heenan, zingers. And now I'm gonna go home.
I was
and
trying to lob it up for you, but
Stepping all over your toes. Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin's dick. I haven't Googled Shelton Benjamin since I Googled Norman Smiley.
hey, he just got a match on Raw, I think.
I'm sure he did. Did Pat Patterson book
knows?
it? All right.
All right, man. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
man.
Rocky, very
No,
much.
thank you guys so much.